Well, I'm alone again. I still don't know where anybody is. Chris is gone. Chrissy's gone. Lauren's gone. They're all gone, and they keep leaving me here, and I can't leave this stage, and I'm sick of it, and I just want to go home, and I'm sick of Dan Aykroyd bothering me up here.
Oh, hey.
Lauren, you're back. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I just went to go look behind the curtain, and then there was some, I don't know, there was some weird short guy back there, and the coffee kept, they offered me a cup of coffee, and it kept,
was he speaking
turning
weird
into sludge.
backwards talk?
Yeah. Wait, you checked behind the curtain?
Yeah, that guy's weird. Yeah, that guy's weird. I've seen him a couple times.
Yeah, and then there was they were mentioning something about Laura Palmer, which, that's my favorite drink.
Chrissy, is that you?
Hey, we got the conductor in the orchestra pit.
What, did you run a marathon?
You
must have been cool. Huh?
Won't believe what I've went through.
A lot of effort to
what
to
happened?
be able to look between us.
What happened that took you? What happened?
Look, I don't have proper neck muscles as I am a floating head, so it's going to be hard for me to turn my head on a whim. But look,
yeah, that's a fair point.
After the Banana Splits movie, I got flung into God knows where. I was in an orchestra pit where apparently every fucking person in this theater throws their used gum because I was stuck there for a whole week, and it was.
I never heard
sticky.
You down there.
Yeah, how did you think I had to get the gum off? I had to eat it to survive.
I was going to say, honey, I'm like, you couldn't. No, this isn't Saw. He can't do that to yourself.
You want to know what's worse? I don't have eyelids.
Yeah, you tend to have a long vacant stare.
Yeah, Lauren's the only one that's lucky enough to have eyelids here.
Yeah, and even then, it's only the lower half, so I mean, there's some hydration there, but also I kind of have some. I also have a bit of a condition. I don't know. I've been able to look in my mirror. I have hard eyes.
It's called zenitis. It's terminal.
You know what? You know what? That's a valid. I'm gonna have to look into that because it sounds exactly like something I would have.
Man. Well, okay. While we're here, before we get flung into our next Saw-like off-screen shenanigans, anyone want to talk about a movie?
Sure. Yeah. That's all we ever do here.
I mean, we're stuck in this theater for however long.
I'm just waiting for Dan Aykroyd to show up at this point because I know he's around here somewhere.
Oh, come on!
He's probably lurking around. Here. He's probably lurking around, trying to eat popcorn off the floor or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
he's like a fucking rat. He's
stuck here with the rest of us. So I'm like, are we?
No, you
stuck
can
here
hear
with
him
him,
skittering around. You can hear him skittering around like.
You know how some theaters have how they have theater ghosts? We just have Dan Aykroyd.
He's living his family's dream. He's become a ghost.
Well, you know what? Hey, ghost editor, what are we going to talk about today?
Oh,
there it is.
Oh,
it's
Superman.
Oh,
yeah,
Superman.
That's not Superman.
Hey, look, it's Uberman!
Uberman, are you going to save us from this terrible, terrible fate that we're in? No, Uberman!
Okay, no!
Uberman.
Oh, no!
Uberman,
No! No!
I like Conan better than you!
Wait, where is he going?
We're gonna be stuck here forever.
Oh!
There it is!
Can appear.
Oh, okay, I guess this is what we're doing now.
Oh, well, hello, everyone in the outside world. We're gonna talk about the great Rodriguez classic of Sharkboy and Lavagirl in 3D, with us in 2D.
Game over.
Game over.
Game over, man! Game over!
Weirdly,
weirdly, there are no recurring Robert Rodriguez actors in this movie. Like,
No.
none.
It's
George Lopez was not a recurring.
no,
No,
actually no.
I don't think I think this is the only one he's ever been in.
Yeah, so there's a lot of there's a lot of fresh faces in here, and by all lot, I mean pretty much all.
The biggest problem is that this movie didn't have Danny Trejo in it.
I know. We need machete. We mean. It felt naked without him.
Danny Trejo was George Lucas's role, but Danny Trejo.
You know, actually, now that I think about it, if we had machete, he would have solved this whole movie, and it would have been over in 5 minutes.
I know everything, and you know nothing.
But yes, Michael, why don't you tell us give us the skinny on Sharkboy and Lava
You want
Lady.
the plot synopsis of Sharkboy and Lavagirl.
Yes, okay. I'm sure this could be fast.
So, basically, there's a kid named Max. He has these 2 superheroes that he create. Basically, everybody believes these characters are imaginary. He's convinced that they're real. A superhero named Sharkboy and Lava... Uberman, get the fuck out! I'm explaining the plot.
It's too late. It's too late for us, Uberman. You might as well leave.
Yeah, you get out of here. No. No.
Uberman, you're just gonna have to leave.
You had your chance.
Thank you.
Anyway, so there's this kid named Max who has these 2 characters that basically everybody believes are imaginary, which is Sharkboy and Lavagirl. His parents are going through a rough patch, and one day, Sharkboy and Lavagirl arrive to take him to Planet Drool to stop the evil Mr. Electric and another villain named Minus. And that's basically it. That's basically the plot. That's the easiest way to explain the plot.
Yeah, it's
the movie is not as simple as that, though.
Yeah, it's kind of a clusterfuck of ideas. So,
by the way, this is my
the MVP.
The MVP of the entire film.
He's got to be going to a chiropractor every day because he carried this whole fucking thing on his back.
Which is why this kid has not been in many movies since. But this movie felt like if Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends became like an action movie, kind of, because it's so murky throughout most of the film. If Sharkboy and Lavagirl actually exist, if anything that's going on is actually happening, or it's inside this guy's head.
My biggest problem with the movie, and I wrote this down in my notes, I think I wrote this down 3 different ways at different points when I was writing this in my notes, was I don't know what the fuck this movie was trying to do. And I don't mean that in the sense of tonally. I mean that in the sense of... It just feels like they didn't know what direction to take the film, because the movie is very, very, very inconsistent with what is supposed to be. It can't follow its own rules. That's the biggest problem with the movie, is that it cannot follow its own rules a lot of the time.
Yeah, which, I mean, yeah, because basically, to say about the characters is that Lavagirl is a girl made out of lava. The shark boy is a boy who
becomes half shark after being raised by sharks. So there you go.
Because that's what happens when you're raised by someone. You gain the abilities of a shark.
Let me talk about this for a second. Okay, so why can the sharks talk? Why can the sharks talk? They never explain why the sharks can talk, and they start talking to him before they start doing all the fucking Aquaman shit with Sharkboy. Like, the sharks can just talk to him, and they never explain it.
Yeah,
I feel like somehow that's the least questionable thing in this entire movie.
Well, again, like I said, I think here's the thing I wrote in my notes. The movie tries to operate on fairy tale logic, but at the same time tries to explain several things, and you can't do both.
It's like it's trying to do a fairy tale story with science fiction logic.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is that it'll explain a lot of shit, but at the same time it won't, and it's really frustrating at several points. And it's not like where it's like, well, what the fuck was that? It's like, no, it'll just have its own rules, and then it'll break its own rules, or it just won't explain anything. It's very, very inconsistent as to what the film was kind of trying to do with how it presented its world. It's really weird.
Especially, I'd like to also point out the parallels when they try to make them. Obviously, it's like they double cast everybody is because anybody that's a real world character, they'll have like Mr. Electricidad is Mr. Electric in the dream world, and then you have Max's parents, who are the giants in the land of milk and cookies, and Linus is Minus, blah blah blah. However, I feel like Linus aside, I feel like the other characterizations of those alter egos, I guess you could say, where they're supposed to be parallels, a la Wizard of Oz, to these personalities, it felt like they weren't true to those. Like, they weren't meant to be parallels. They became just complete opposites, but then they just had their personalities. So, I don't know. It was just kind of weird all of a sudden because Mr. E in the real world, he begins as he's like a stern teacher, and he kind of flips out before when the tornado.
He's kind of a dick. Like one of the first few lines he has, he's a huge dick, and then out of nowhere they just kind of make him a nice guy.
Yeah, and then he flips out again. But it's like, I don't know. They don't like they had no idea how to direct his character or write for his character. And George Lopez is just floundering because he's like, I have no idea what the ambitions are for this character.
I'm just thinking about one of the. There's a line at the end of the movie, or near the end, where he's like, "You drew me as a big round bad guy. I'm not bad." I'm like, well, they kind of make you like you're a bad guy sometimes, but then sometimes you're like really nice. It's
exactly
really
they don't have. He's a flip flopper.
Yeah, see, what I feel like if they wanted to do the whole electricity shtick with him, and they should have had him be controlled by Minus in a way that he has like maybe a light switch or something on him, so he switches on and off. You can't get he's either not like, I feel like there was more that could have been done with the parallels in this, where because my thing with this movie is that I would have liked it if it was either a never-ending story kind of deal where all of this is basically he enters his sketchbook, or dream journal, I'm sorry. Send him to the principal's office
dream.
Have him expelled!
But like,
send him to the principal's office and have him expelled. It's so freaking good. I swear to God, I love Linus.
We'll get to the acting. We'll get to the acting when we get to it. We'll get to the acting. We'll get to it.
To me, it just felt like they should have either done a never-ending story thing, just go full fantasy and be like, these characters escaped from the book, his journal and stuff, and it's magic because it's magic. We've had the world of cinema long enough that if something's magical, whatever. Or have it purely be him having a Pajama Sam-esque imaginary adventure, and the end of the movie is him coming back to the quote-unquote real world, and he uses the things he learns.
That's the frustrating thing. But
the biggest thing to me, then I'll let you go, is my big issue, and we'll get that when we talk about the cast and the characters. I feel like this movie would have been a lot more believable if Max was cast as a younger kid.
Yeah, because they're like, you're 4th grade. It's almost like you should be making friends. I was almost bracing for the fact, you're 4th grade. Frick you doing with these the ideas of Sharkboy and Lavagirl? I don't know. Maybe it's just because maybe it's not as believable that an 11-year-old is coming up with this versus like a 5 or 6-year-old.
Well, if they worded it as if he was a creative kid doing like art class and shit, and he was making comic books or something, that would have been more understandable.
They do nothing. They really do nothing to establish. It's kind of like when we talked about Halloween Town, which was kind of my one thing I found weird about the main girl, Riley. is that they make several points of like, oh, she's so fucking weird and she's so quirky, but the movie never presents her that way. And that's how this movie also feels. The movie never presents Max in a way that feels like he's more creative than he is, or that he's more, I don't know, he just feels too normal to me for this,
and
this world.
On top of that, for something so precious as his dream journal, I feel like it's the world's stupidest move for him to take it to a school where he knows he's bullied and all that stuff. Like, you're gonna take it literally into the battlefield. I don't know. I'm like, it kind of bothered me going like, that's like taking your private sketchbook or your diary to school. And you're risking people reading it or looking into it when you don't want them to read and look into it.
What's up? Why are these dogs kissing each other?
I want to go back to the Neverending Story thing, because when they get to Planet Drool, when they immediately introduce the darkness that's consuming the world, I literally went while watching the movie, that's the Nothing! It's literally just the Nothing from Neverending Story. It's a big black cloud that eats things. That's all it is.
You know, it's kind of funny.
It's the exact same thing.
How I interpreted the darkness when it was coming, I'm like, because after I looked at the journal, because Linus goes through and, he edits the book. He scribbles around in it and doodles all over it and that kind of stuff. How I interpret it, because I saw very quickly in the glances that you have at the pages, is that everything is done pretty much in like black ink or black pencil or anything like that, something dark. And that's how I interpreted the darkness, was like, it's not so much as like, it could be like negative vibes or whatever, just whatever.
But in the literal sense,
minus this. But in the literal sense, it's the freaking black marker all over his freaking dream journal.
Which that is clever. But that's why I get so annoyed with the fact that it's a dream journal, because this is the thing that either this could have made it work with him being a 4th grader, or it could have made it work with him being a little kid, is why couldn't he just have been an artist? And it's his sketchbook and it's his little ideas. And I mean, you know what? It could have also been interesting that he was an artist who has like this passion for drawing little superhero characters and stuff, because as elementary kids, people make up superhero shit. And that he also used it to help cope with the fact that his parents may be separated or he's bullied at school and all this stuff. And because, I was that kind of kid. I would just draw and doodle because I didn't connect with people. But I don't get the concept. I think a dream journal is honestly too mature of a concept for a 4th grader to grasp.
Also, let me I just came to a realization here when we were talking about this. You know what movie did this weirdly better, even though I still think it's not a great movie?
What?
Fucking Bridge to Terabithia. It kind of did exactly what you said. Are you dancing?
You dancing?
Are you having a good time?
Do you have to, or do you have to go to the bathroom? I'm trying to read the sign.
I can't read.
I was doing a little dance because that was my agreement, because I can't nod my head. But
that's what, like, the Bridge to Terabithia does the whole thing of, he's an artist, he's a creative kid. They openly talk about how it's him and this girl, and the world they go to, they openly acknowledge is this imaginary world, but it starts to kind of bleed into the real world, but they still acknowledge it's imaginary. Like the whole, like that whole, well, even the book does the same thing. It acknowledges it's an imaginary world.
Yeah, like, here is, we'll get to the actual movie in a bit, but here's Chrissy's pitch for my remake of Sharkboy and Lavagirl. All right.
Ooh,
you guys,
oh boy.
you guys are Mark Cuban and the other people on Shark Tank. So
here
we go.
Sharkboy Tank,
Shark Tank and Lavagirl.
And Lauren Girl. My concept is okay. We're gonna age him down a little bit, like maybe 10 years old.
Wait, is he not 10? I thought he was like.
He's like 11.
Yeah,
Age him down to like 8. Make him like 8 or 9.
Let's make him 8. And he just has a passion for comic books and drawing. Have that be like a big thing. Give him like the kid cosmic treatment. He loves comic books and he wants to draw for them. An aspiration, if you will. He still gets bullied and he still has the problems with his parents. His parents are too busy, don't connect with him, all that stuff. And he's just drawing to help cope with everything. And one night he had a bad day at school where Linus, who's still a character, like scribbles in art class all over his sketchbook with marker or paint, or even make it inadvertent that they are having the fight over the sketchbook, knock over a thing of paint, and blah 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 blah. And he gets home from school. Maybe the parents were called in because of the fight. They're fighting each other over what to do. He escapes to maybe a tree house or something, and when he falls asleep in the tree house, he wakes up, hears Sharkboy and Lavagirl come in. There's the adventure in Planet Drool. Turns out, all a dream, all imaginary. But that's the whole Wizard of Oz thing, is that he, processed his emotions through that fake adventure. And maybe just for the kiddies, we'll have the hint that it actually happened of like, what?
Like
or
that little wink at the camera, like right before the credits roll, like like something happened.
But I feel like if he was not in his like room or something, maybe there was a storm when he was in the treehouse or something.
Well, it's funny that I realize now that we're having these parallels to Wizard of Oz. I realize now that complete with the double casting with the different characters from the alternate universe. A tornado being the freaking catalyst for everything happening. I'm like, wait, this is a lot more like Wizard of Oz than I thought.
Not to mention the movie opens with Sharknado with the fucking water exhibit. And Sharkboy's a kid.
So Sharkboy and Lavagirl walked so that Sharknado could run.
Yes, but okay, enough of the imaginary. Let's get to the real facts, including the characters and cast in this, because there's a lot of fresh faces, not just for Rodriguez films, but with the exception of like isn't George Lopez, like, at the time, because we know that Taylor Lautner got bigger, the most prolific actor in this movie?
I'd say, well, David Arquette. David Arquette's the only well-known actor.
I forgot David Arquette was in this.
Yeah, I know he's.
When we get to the acting, I have the most I have to say about this movie is actually going to be a lot of the performance stuff when we get to that. So,
and just to say, we're not shitting on the actors because we realize that a lot of them were actual children when they did this.
Yes.
When you have child actors, it's all dependent on what direction they were given. We're not shitting on them. I'm sure they were lovely little kids. However, how they were directed sometimes was hilarious.
Now, should we start taking a deep dive into the actual film itself? I guess.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so opening of the movie, we get Sharkboy's backstory, which his dad's a marine biologist.
His dad was a marine biologist.
The middle of the ocean in this badass like science lab in the middle of the ocean.
A
that looks fucking awesome.
Island, essentially.
Yeah, and then a tornado, those pesky ocean tornadoes just comes and fucking wrecks shit. And Sharkboy and his dad get separated.
Well, they're called water spouts. The water spouts would be water tornadoes.
And I gotta talk about how when his dad gets separated from him, man, that kid has no fucking reaction. I gotta say, right, that kid just kind of blankly stares off to where his dad is.
No.
And has, like,
stop, no, come back.
Yeah, no, and again, the sharks can fucking talk. They talk to him, and they never explain why they can speak.
I mean,
and this is before they implement
talking to him.
Yeah, Robert Rodriguez in an uncredited appearance as the talking shark. It's really weird.
I was going to say, you know how they ask, what would happen if you give a mouse a cookie? This is what would happen if you give sushi to a shark. That was talk.
So my favorite thing about the movie, at least with this backstory stuff, is they give Sharkboy this long, like, opening 3-minute backstory. They explain everything that happened to him. Lavagirl just shows up.
Yeah.
Like,
She's supposed
and
to
I
be
know that the whole, I know
mysterious
that
But
there,
then again, the whole thing is
I know
her
that
not
there's-
knowing her story, so.
Right, yeah, no, I know that there's the theme of the movie is that she doesn't know who she is. I just find it so funny that she just appears in Max's house with Sharkboy, and he just goes, I called her Lavagirl, and she smiled because that was actually her name. I'm like, wow, great first guess, kid. That was a great first guess.
Just to say, I'm looking at the Wikipedia right now for Sharkboy and Lavagirl, and I love some of the descriptors for these because, you know, some of them have like why were they picked for this role kind of thing, and for Caden Boy as Max, you know, saying like an imaginative 10-year-old boy who was known as the daydreamer of Planet Drool, all that. Boyd said about the role, I like that he's selfish in the beginning and he's not selfish in the end.
Wow.
That sounds like a
sounds
very
like something
kid
a 10
answer.
Yeah, that sounds like something a
That sounds
10-year-old boy
exactly
would
like
say.
they spoke to him when he was 10. He was like, I like it that he's not a selfish kid anymore at the end. Like,
My favorite part of the airport is when the planes go up and they go,
That sounds like
You can see the
6-year-old, which is
planes
even
over
funnier to me
there.
now. That just sounds like
you can see the planes over there. But I also got to talk about something that annoyed the shit out of me through the entire
Go
movie,
ahead.
and I know it's a really petty thing. But when I talk about the movie breaking its own rules, they make it very clear that Lavagirl burns the ground where she walks, because they show that a lot in the movie. Whenever she's in Max's house, the floor's not burned or anything, and that annoys the shit out of me. There's
But
so
the
many
cookies
times
are.
where like the ground isn't scorched. Yeah, the cookies are scorched, but the ground isn't, even though they straight up show a lot of times when she's running away or walking, she leaves like footprints in the ground.
She wore house slippers.
She burns footprints. She would have burned through the house slippers.
Flame
They were
retardant
silicone.
slippers.
Flame
Silicone.
Oven mitts.
Oven mitts on her feet. But yeah, no. So yeah, let's talk about the kids and George Lopez. Let's talk about the acting.
Yeah, so we got Caden Boyd as Max, and you know what? He tries. He's not
His
the worst
only other
lead. He's not the worst
his
lead
only
kid
other-
actor I've ever seen. But
No, his only other notable role, I think, is the opening of X-Men Last Stand, where he plays Angel as a kid. And his acting, the best acting I think he's ever done is in that first minute, and he only has like 2 lines.
yeah, I mean, apparently
Yeah, I
he's
don't
gonna be
fault-
in a
I
movie
don't
called
fault him.
Dog. But like, the sad thing is that when you have something like Spy Kids, right, where the two main actors for it were very charismatic children, and they knew how to do like the overtly calm, cool kid shtick.
You know,
I feel
Daryl
like they
Sabera and Alexa Vega are still, I think, very charismatic actors,
Well,
even as
yeah,
adults.
I'm just saying, like, Robert Rodriguez has a thing with kid characters in their films that they are overtly calm to perilous situations, and that works with Spy Kids, right? And I understand that since Max is seeing this stuff as like like most of this stuff is imaginary, I can understand him being overtly calm. But sometimes it doesn't work because it feels like you could feel like in the Spy Kids movies the actors would be calm in real life too. I feel like Caden, if any of this shit happened to him in real life, he would not be this calm.
No, that's
in fact, he would be like he was at the beginning of the movie when Sharkboy and Lavagirl show up in the classroom, curled in the fetal position under his desk.
There's a lot of scenes where he's just not reacting that much. A lot of scenes in the movie where he
Which
just
can
doesn't,
be
like,
attributed
it's
to
almost
the
like
fact
he's
that
just
a lot of this stuff doesn't exist, and they didn't give them good direction on what's going to be there in post-production. But we'll get to the visuals after we talk about the
Oh boy! And we'll get
Okay,
to the
let's
visuals.
talk about Linus. Let's talk about Linus.
Let's talk about
Best
our Lord
character in
and
the movie.
Savior.
Okay, so Linus is the antagonist of the film. He's the school bully, and also is the twist villain of the imaginary world. That kid is fucking amazing.
He is our Sylvester Stallone in Spy Kids 3D levels of amazing villain.
This kid, that is some, like, here's the thing. I don't know if I'd call his acting good, but that is one of the most entertaining child actors I've ever seen in a film. He is having so much fun
He is having the best time being an asshole, and you love him for it, because it's like,
well, and it's not, honestly, he's not just an asshole. He's the most cartoonishly evil, like, even when he's not in the imaginary world, even in the real world, he's the most cartoonishly evil kid.
Yeah,
like
my favorite part is when they're chasing him on the playground, and he's got fucking henchmen, and he's like directing them where to go. Like he's a fucking super villain.
Without a word, he points and they follow. Like
they go where he tells them to go.
Like he's mob boss.
That's what I'm saying. He's a fucking super villain. It's amazing. And the whole time, he's like taunting the kid, and he's being so fucking funny with it. I remember when he gets the dream journal, he's like, "I'll return it to you tomorrow with some improvements." He's like, he's so fucking good. And we haven't even talked about when he's in the imaginary world. There, he's even fucking better. He
Minus.
No, he literally, his name is Minus, and he goes full fucking Emperor Palpatine as a child, straight up, like
complete with a freaking flowing cape. I mean, he is such a boss.
I mean, take Zuko and Azula's fucking fight at the end of Avatar aside. Minus versus Max's battle was wow.
Okay, my favorite part is right before the fight. Like, Max gets his fucking superpowers back, or whatever. It's fucking stupid, but Linus has this fucking cape with this giant cowl, and he goes full like fucking Dracula. He grabs the cape and wraps it around himself. And he goes, "How'd you get in here?" It's fucking great. He's so like, oh my god! If you just watch a compilation of Linus in this movie, it's fucking fantastic.
Not brain fart Minus. Oh
god!
It looks like when you had like a Nintendo DS back in the day, and they had like those games that you could play on the DS where you take a picture of yourself and you can put yourself in like a video game.
Linus was this is the most inappropriate film Linus could have been in, because this kid should have been a villain in a Spy Kids movie. He should not have been the villain here. Like,
he could have
like
done
this kid
so
straight up should have been the villain in a Spy Kids film.
The fact they didn't bring Minus back to be in that fucking No Be Heroes thing that they brought Lavagirl into.
But not Taylor Lautner. But
not Taylor Lautner.
You know what? Side note: I hope he's doing well, whatever he's doing these days.
What, Linus or Taylor Lautner?
Jacob?
Well, both, honestly.
I'm sure they're doing something.
I think Taylor's had a proficient enough career. I think he can just kind of do whatever he wants now.
I'm pretty sure that's what he's doing. I think he's living off residuals. And you know what? I'd be, proud of him. That's the grind. That's the true desire of like a child actor, right? Is just to be able to live to relax early in life.
Well, and I think speaking of, I say we should talk about Taylor Dooley and Taylor Lautner. So, I actually had an interesting revelation while I was watching the movie. Taylor Lautner is genuinely funny in this, and I don't even mean ironically. He's genuinely, I think Taylor Lautner of the kids, I think he's trying the most. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean like Linus where he's trying so hard intentionally because it's funny. I mean Taylor Lautner is genuinely funny. He has like one-liners in this that actually make me laugh.
And especially just like he got the characterization of this freaking angry, broody child so right. I don't know. It was like there were moments where I'm just like, yes, that is my angry son.
Yeah, no, like it's so funny because I was watching this and I hadn't seen it in a few years, and watching it again, I'm like, I think Taylor Lautner's genuinely, like, for what the movie is, I think Taylor Lautner's probably the best actor in the film. I think he is like the
Taylor
most.
Lautner so much because I don't think whoever was his agent after Twilight, or the Twilight era, really did not give him roles to benefit his actual talents, which is combat and because his martial arts skills and his comedy. Because the thing is that before the land of Twilight, he was actually a voice actor, like a child voice actor, and TV, because he was on What's New Scooby Doo and Duck Dodgers, and he was Youngblood in Danny Phantom.
He was Youngblood in Danny Phantom. He was a one-off character in Duck Dodgers, I think. God, what else?
Oh no, he was Reggie in Duck Dodgers. He did 2 episodes. Like, he did things, and he was also on the Bernie Mac show and My Wife and Kids and Cheaper by the Dozen too. He has good comedic timing, and he's as we could see in Sharkboy and Lavagirl, he's not a non-emotive person. But I feel like after Twilight, people pigeonholed him in roles that were like stoic, sexy, yeah. Even though that's not probably how he is in real life, nor is that his true calling.
No, I've seen him in interviews, and I've seen him, and again, seeing him in things that are not like what he's been doing the last 10 years. I think he could have done really well as one of those guys that, like, not a main actor, but like as a side character in a buddy comedy or something like that. I could have totally seen him in a film like that. He got a taste
of that in that Scream Queen show that came out a few years ago. And
I thought you were going to talk about that Adam Sandler movie where he plays a mentally handicapped guy.
No, I'm talking about the good programming. Thank you very much. But because Scream Queens was the satirical show of like slasher films, and he got to play like a doctor in it, and he was really funny. I feel bad that when you look at his IMDb and stuff, he's not done a lot, and whatever, he could live his life. But it makes me kind of mad at Twilight because for the longest time, Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart and Taylor couldn't get out of that bubble that Twilight put them in and what the media put them in because of Twilight. But at least Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson have gone now, because now Kristen Stewart's like an indie princess and Robert Pattinson's fucking Batman, so...
And he's Batman where he actually was like, it's the more I hear about him being Batman, the more I'm excited I am to see him as Batman, because apparently he was told to like work out to chisel up and get a physique, and he's like, I'll get to that, and they're like, okay, well, we're counting on you to chisel, to beef up a little bit, and he has not done so.
Hey, can I talk about my favorite Robert Pattinson story? Is that he found out about a super fan that was stalking him. So he took them on a date, story. And all he did was just talk about how shitty his life is until they left. Basically,
yeah, he was talking about like how what irked him, what pissed him off, and like all of his woes, and literally they're like, "Wow, this is kind of bad," and left.
You know what? That is a great way to do it. Respect. Point being, circling back, Taylor Lautner is like next to Linus as the best kid actor in this movie. Not to say that Taylor Dooley's also pretty good, but I'm saying Taylor was really good.
I'd say if I could, like, Taylor Lautner, like I said, I think he is the best actor of the kids. I think Linus is the most fun, but like Taylor is the one that I think is the most consistent with the performance. And again, good. I think he has very good comedic delivery for being a kid actor for one of his first roles.
Dream.
I
love his aggressive lullaby. That still gets me.
And I think he was the one who understood the most out of all the kids of what's going to be there when they do the CG and everything.
Oh yeah.
Because that's the thing that I can't knock these kids on too much, is that this movie is 99% green screen. Even like Lavagirl's jet ski was just a green box with handles on it because so it's hard for adults to know where to look and how to react to stuff when it's just a green room. Imagine kids doing that. Like, they are actually playing imaginary with this kind of stuff. So, but I remember. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, I remember. I think the best way I've ever heard green screen acting described was Steve from Blue's Clues. I remember he had described it as when you do it for so long, you feel like you're acting underwater. Like that's the best way that I've heard green screen acting described, is you don't know what the fuck you're doing after a while because you have nothing to interact with.
Yeah, because the thing is, I think Taylor just understood the assignment a bit more because he was hired on because of his, fighting techniques and stuff. And when you need to know your sense of area, if you're going to be doing backflips and shit, I feel like it's easier for him to visualize where to be. So I really like Taylor's performance in this. And Taylor Dooley was nice. I feel like she got the short end of the stick because she had to play like this motherly, mysterious girl, because that's what female characters have to be.
Kind of flat on most of her lines, but I'd say she's okay. I think the biggest problem is that she's a little too flat.
Yeah, and I feel bad that she also got handed some of the more awkward shots in terms of her character. Like, I'm sorry, it's kind of creepy to see the whole fucking, lava girl melted down into magma and just her head. Oh, I'm like, I remember as a kid seeing that first and going,
I remember seeing that as a teenager and going, this feels like this was fetishy to me when I saw that. Like, I don't know, that felt really fetishy to me, the way they do that. Like,
I think the thing with Lava Girl that just makes me kind of upset thinking about it now is I feel like the actress had more in her if they just made her I don't know what I am, I'm the serious one kind of thing. Like, that's fine. That's a fine enough concept. The fact that she had to be like the motherly figure to Max during most of it, because she was like she was uncomfortable levels of sweet to him, which I mean, like, there was a whole big thing that Sharkboy was jealous because Sharkboy likes Lava Girl and the way that she was acting towards Max, especially since for a little while in the movie there's the implications Lava Girl is a creation of Max's. So like, yeah, like, it almost felt like Sharkboy and Lava Girl were weird Freudian presentations of aspects of his parents.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, well, because they do that thing at the end with the twister, like when they when the climax is going on, when like the characters like save each of the parents individually. That's another thing I want to talk about. The parents. I want to talk about the parents. Before we'll save George Lopez for last. We save George Lopez for last. He's
like
the most
save
important
him for
one.
last.
Yep.
Well, yeah, no. So David Arquette, and I hate that I can't remember the other actress's name. I think she's also a known actor, but I can't remember her name.
I think her name is like Kristen Davis.
Let me see. I'm looking it up right now. Yeah, Kristen Davis.
Yeah, it's Kristen Davis.
Aha, I win.
David Arquette. Okay, she's from Sex and the City. Okay, that's the thing she's most.
That's because I remember I always looking for go. I always remember seeing her face everywhere. Now I remember. Right, Sex and the City.
But yeah, no. David Arquette and Kristen Davis play Max's parents, and they're going through a struggling marriage, and I gotta give it. David Arquette, God bless him, he's really trying. David Arquette genuinely felt like he was really trying to give a genuine performance, and I do like him in the movie. I think he is the better of the two actors for the parents, because the mom is very inconsistent with how she's written and the performance. David Arquette just feels like he's trying to be the because David Arquette's the one that's trying to side more with Max on his own shit. And David Arquette is really giving like the nicest. He's just so charming in this with the little that he has, and it makes me kind of sad that they don't give him really anything to do outside of just be the motivation to Max.
Especially since like it's supposed to be the only times we really see them are their dysfunctional parenting, and they get back together at the end. And there's really no, like...
No.
We have no hints that
no
they have actual chemistry outside of the fact they made a child.
Yeah, no, they're... Like, that's the thing, is that we get character when they speak to Max, but when they're arguing with each other, which is what they're doing most of the film, we don't get anything about them. We get that David Arquette, his character, he's an artist... and which explain he's a writer. Oh, he's creative. That's the thing we get, is that he's the creative one, which is why he sides with Max more in a lot of the stuff. And we get like 3 scenes with him with Max, where again David Arquette is genuinely trying to give a good performance with the little he has, and I give him a lot of credit that he was at least able to give a charming performance for what little he had. But I think the one really weird scene is when they bring out Tobor in the real world.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, remember Tobor? Why didn't you want to, like, you want to finish building this robot like tomorrow or something? And he's like, no. I'm like, oh, why not? I remember you really wanted to finish this robot. And like, because you said it was stupid. And he's like, I did. And he's like, I did? And he's like, yeah, you said it was pointless. So like, huh. And that's like the only scene we really get with that. And I'm like, it feels like there was supposed to be more to that scene, and it just kind of ends.
There's something to unpack there. Like, are you implying that like whenever I call this overthinking and or projecting, but that gives like the implication that the dad does something that causes him to do bad things and can't remember. Glug glug glug. So like. You know.
Oh, it's like I was thinking it was more.
Are you implying that this child-friendly Robert Rodriguez film had an alcoholic parent in the movie?
I'm like, again, I guess it could be open to interpretation for that. I personally saw it as more like, because there is so much just of the parents arguing, that I figure it was maybe he was after a rough time. Maybe he had a spat with the wife and stuff like that, and maybe he was in such a bad mood, and that translated down to him, putting down Tobor. So it was like, so that's how I saw it, because that's what we seem to see more, is just them arguing, and that's just casually in the day, first thing in the morning, first thing at night, when he's coming home or in the afternoon when he's coming home from school, all that kind of stuff.
When he shits, when he showers.
Yeah, when they're just blah, 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 blah. But I mean, that's how I saw it. So I mean, I do like that
interpretation. We got to dream a little harder in our.
You got to dream.
The milk in the milk and cookies was the dad's whitewashings.
Yeah, well, I gotta bring up is that the movie. I gotta bring up is that because when I think about the parents, I think about the one scene in the Land of Milk and Cookies, and the movie. Before we get to George Lopez, the movie has this thing where I think it's trying to be deeper than I think it knows how to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because there's several points in the movie where it's kind of trying to make this psychological connection to something, but it never goes far enough that we really get what it's trying to do. Like with the parents in the Land of Milk and Cookies, they just kind of show up and they make a comment about it, but it's more so like, okay, what else does that mean? What else is the meaning behind that? Because there's one thing I wanted to point out. George Lopez plays like 4 characters in this. He's all the voiceover roles except for these sharks at the beginning, and I don't know what that means. Because George Lopez is Tobor, and he's also the Ice King with the Ice Princess, and I don't get what that's trying to say.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's trying to say something, but I don't know if the movie knows what that's trying to say.
I don't know. It feels like it's like, isn't this? You know what it is? It's that fucking David Lynch thing of I think Eraserhead is my
most spiritual film. Care to elaborate? No.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Because when Tobor shows up, it's George Lopez, and again, I was like, but why is it George Lopez? Like, that's the thing. I did, and I'm not. I wasn't even trying to.
You know how there's the universe of. There's the universe where everyone jokes that everybody is going to be Chris Pratt. Everyone's going to be George Lopez.
Everyone will be George Lopez. It's this thing where I don't know if there was a deeper meaning behind George Lopez playing all these characters, if it was just convenience that George Lopez was there. Well, because I get the idea of George Lopez playing the Ice King because the girl that Max likes in the real world is his daughter, like George Lopez's character's daughter.
I just had a freaking revelation. And it's all because of a freaking... I mean, I could say it's a throwaway line, but also not really. Is when Mr. E goes, I know everything and you know nothing. What does Tobor do? He has the answer to everything. I just had that moment right now.
I have a feeling that might not actually be what that's meaning, but
man, if it was,
and plus Tobor was made to help with homework. I feel like it all.
That's what I'm saying. This movie, I don't know if this movie's deeper than it is. It's confusing.
Maybe
I don't know. Maybe the curtains were actually blue. I don't know.
You know what this is?
I'm already 25.
This movie. Shut up. This movie is when we start talking about memories as a child, being like, oh, you know, I had crazy dreams as a kid, or when I was a kid, I always remember these kind of things. And then you realize you're in therapy, and you're like, wait a minute. Oh my God, unwrapping all this. Oh my God, this explains everything. Like, that's what this movie is. Because that
it really is, because considering, again, at the end of the day, this is a kid coping with trauma through his dream journal, through escaping to dreams, escaping reality. Yeah, this is literally just therapy, the movie.
Honestly, if this movie was maybe PG-13 when it came out, and they stated that the dream journal was something Max was told to do from a therapist or a school counselor.
A Dear Evan Hansen situation, if you will.
Oh my God.
Yes, but Ben Platt, Max is still played by a child and not shitting in the bed crying like Ben Platt.
Except actually all the children are still played by real children.
Wait. So you're saying that we should turn this movie basically into a Monster Calls, that movie with Liam Neeson as the tree monster, basically.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
basically what you're implying this should have been.
Yes, and then we should make the kid played by Ben Platt, and Ben Platt cries covered in makeup and tells us to buy crypto.
Anyway, we got to talk about George Lopez. We can't keep
George
talking
Lopez.
about George
Then we'll
Lopez.
get to the visuals, and then I think we should just say our thoughts on the movie, because man, this movie is so fucking dense. We're already an hour in.
I know, we're already like this. There's so much to talk about with this fucking movie. Like,
yeah, you wouldn't have thought it. Like, freaking Sharkboy and Lavagirl, right? Oh no, honey, there is so much to unpack with this, and we're not even scratching the surface.
Yeah, but let's talk about our Lord and Savior, George Lopez.
okay, so anyway, so George Lopez, a lot like Linus, motherfucker's having the time of his life.
Oh yeah,
in this fucking movie.
They had to put him in the Mr. Electric orbs to keep him from eating the scenery.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's just, yeah. And on top of that, it's funny because obviously there was a bunch of shots where I think he was directed improperly, but the emotion was there that you're like, I get what he's trying to do. It's just the way they told him how to do it was awkward. And you probably know a scene. You probably know which one I'm talking about. If I'm
One of my favorite scenes in the entire movie is when Lavagirl gets gets thrown in the volcano and she gets her powers back, and all the darkness disappears, and Mr. Electric just goes, "Who turned on the lights?" Just fucking screams. At the top
Fucking
of
goes
his
all
lungs.
Ren from Ren Hoek.
Yeah.
Look, guys, Mr. Electric. You want to know my favorite thing about Mr. Electric though is this is such a oh, Chrissy knows visual effects shit. Is that if you look at some of Mr. Electric's shots, you could see the green screen behind George Lopez.
Yeah.
Because they were just they were just recording him as a close-up shot.
And actually, what I give props to them is, obviously for some of I think what they had to do too is for some of the shots where, especially because when Mr. Electric has to look down, and he tilts his whole body down, is they had to have George tilt his head as well to make sure that wherever that they were going to map out where his head was going to be, that the angle had to work. So it was almost like an actual either contained head or a hologram inside of the.
It's like the
machine.
Michael Keaton. It's like the Michael Keaton Batman. Like he has to turn his whole body to like turn around, or he has to like bend over completely to look down because the neck is so stiff.
Exactly.
Like it's like, oh my god! Can we talk about?
I can look at Mr. Electric shots all day because look at this.
No, Mr. Electric is the.
I don't know why, but it's so much funnier to watch him. It's so much funnier to look at him in stills. I don't know why.
But Mr. Okay, so
imagine how he fucking moves.
Like so,
oh, wait,
Mr. Electric is basically. Oh my god! What? Wait, which one is it? Wait.
Turn on the lights.
Who turned on the lights?
Sometimes he's not centered in the orb correctly, and it makes me laugh so much.
Let me put my favorite Mr. Electric shot. I put it in the general in the chat. My favorite one.
I just like I fucking you just imagine. I want. This is what people see when they do Zoom meetings. Like I fucking love Mr.
Okay, but can we have a filter that's like Mr. Electric? So every time we move our head, it's just his body.
That should be
Can
like
we
a
please?
Snapchat Instagram filter. That would be great.
Please.
Who turned on the lights?
Yeah, no. So
when we hit the when we hit the 20th anniversary, let's which is a scary fucking thought. But when we hit the 20th anniversary, let's get that.
Okay, so Mr. Electric is basically oh man.
That's
primary antagonist of the film.
It was 2005, so you know.
We got 4 years, baby.
4 years, baby. People have to go through high school and have their own Sharkboy and Lavagirl adventure still.
But yeah, no. So Mr. Electric is basically the primary antagonist, even though the film kind of treats him like the supporting, even though he has way more screen time than the main villain of the film.
But in the end,
then he hijacks the film in the climax.
He
completely hijacks the film.
He's the Vader to the Palpatine kind of situation.
Yeah,
but
because I was going to say, because with Minus, because it is a parallel of having, obviously, that Linus, even though he's, quote, gets in trouble, he still gets away with what he does. It's like Minus being in control of Mr. Electric, in that respect. So the parallel actually works in that regard. But
like, oh my god, every line. I would love to see behind the scenes of how George Lopez was directed in this, because there's so many deliveries in this movie that are so, like Jim Carrey mask level, like cartoon, like is just so over the top.
Lopez in this movie.
What?
It's just a thing of, because Lopez plays 4 characters basically, because he plays the teacher, Electric, Tobor, and the Ice Guardian. Apparently that's just because Rodriguez just kept asking Lopez to play characters. And
that sounds about right.
So it was basically Alan Oppenheimer in Neverending Story when he was playing Falcor. They just kept asking him to do voices for all the characters.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, you have to wonder how much in how concentration of time, because apparently Lopez only spent a total of 2 weeks working on the film.
Wow.
What the fuck? Okay,
Yes!
you tell me that now? I have a very strong feeling all the Mr. Electric shit was probably done in like 2 days. I just have a very strong feeling. It was like 2 or 3 days.
Like, you sure you don't want another take of that? No, that's good.
No, that's good.
I have to
That's
go.
good.
I have to go record another season of my show. So can we?
He probably recorded the green screen on the set of his show. He probably
Yeah,
did that while
they
he
just
was-
switched cameras. They're like they shoved the George Lopez one off to the side and brought in they wheeled in the Robert Rodriguez one. Like, here, we film off of this? Okay, good, you're done. Okay, back to your.
Can you imagine if they filmed it in like a shitty bathroom with like no acoustic, with like too much acoustic, so like the
Who
entire
turned on
film,
the lights?
Mr. Electric has like a fucking an echo on
Somebody
him.
comes into the bathroom and actually tries to turn on. Who turned on the light?
Who turned on the lights?
I'm kind of shit. I can only shit in the dark.
They
Filmed
turned
all the
on light.
Mr. Electric all of Mr. Electric shots in a frickin' bathroom stall.
Denny's.
You just hear coming. You just like everyone is eating at Denny's, and you just hear from like the bathroom door. Who turned on the lights? You just hear from behind the bathroom door.
I know everything, and you know nothing.
And you know nothing. Okay,
Mr.
Before we start this.
Oh no, I was just gonna say one more thing about Mr. Electric. Mr. Electric is like the most COVID-friendly movie character to play because you can just record everything on a webcam at home.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Before we discuss the visuals, I got to talk about one line Mr. Electric has, and I've talked to you about this before, Chrissy. Genuinely, I don't know what it is about Robert Rodriguez, but like all his movies will have one, like kids' movies will have one really good fucking line. Like a really good line.
Mm-hmm.
Sharkboy and Lavagirl has one of the best villain lines I've ever heard in a children's film, unironically. And it's right before Mr. Electric like goes to Earth and tries to destroy the school. He says the line, I wrote it down. It says, "For every person that dreams up the electric light bulb, there's another that dreams up the atom bomb." And like
that is
such a good
genuinely
line.
Good line.
Like that's like some shit Dr. Doom would say or something like that. That's genuinely a great villain line.
Again, for Sharkboy and Lavagirl, that's like what for Spy Kids 2. Does God hide in heaven because he too lives in fear of what he's created, and it's freaking Spy Kids 2 from Steve Buscemi.
That's what I'm saying. Like that line has no reason to be as good as it is. Like that is legitimately a line I could hear come out of like a Marvel villain or something. Like that is a great fucking line for a villain.
It's his kid who came up with that one.
Yeah, it comes from the dreams of Racer.
Like, could you not hear fucking Thanos say a line like that? Like straight up. Like actually.
We should meet Josh Brolin at a convention and get him to say that as Thanos.
Get Josh Brolin to say that at Comic-Con.
Hey, Josh Brolin cameo. Hey, can you say that?
Dude, I need to go on Cameo and get Gilbert Gottfried to say that.
We need to get every celebrity to say the line from Sharkboy and Lavagirl. Oh, not even the compilation. Yes.
Let's bring it full circle. Does David Arquette have a cameo? Let's have him say it.
That's a valid question. I gotta know.
Well, because here's the thing. We need to start a cameo thing to just get a bunch of people to just say that line. Not for the fact of us having a compilation of celebrities saying that line, but for the sheer thing of celebrities talk to each other. And I want there to be a moment where a bunch of celebrities convene and they're just talking about their lives and they're like, they all realize that they got the same cameo request.
Now I have become death, the destroyer of worlds.
Like that,
Damn it,
anyway,
David
so let's
Arquette
talk
does not
about the
have a
CG.
cameo.
Damn, I
No.
swear he did at one point. Maybe he got rid of it. But anyway,
Yeah, 'cause
let's
some of
talk
them will
about the
turn 'em
CG.
off-
Let's
some of
talk
them will
about
turn it
the
off,
let's talk
so.
about the CG. Let's talk about the CGI in this movie.
Oh, funny.
Like, keep
So
in mind,
apparently
this had
11
this
different
had a
visual companies worked on this movie, including
and this had a
Industrial Light.
$50 million budget. Keep in mind.
Is that the
Oh,
most expensive Robert Rodriguez movie?
I would think
Well-
so.
Let's check Spy Kids. Let me see what the Spy Kids movies were. Spy Kids 2 had a budget of $38 million, and honestly, Spy Kids 2 looks way better than
Way
this.
better.
Well, because Sharkboy and Lavagirl came during a time where he was really into 3D. Because I saw Sharkboy and Lavagirl in theaters. Fun fact.
Same.
And it came with 3D glasses. I think I actually have a picture of the 3D glasses. So, where are you? There we go. Yeah, they came with Lavagirl or Sharkboy glasses that you can. Also, couldn't find a picture. When I went there, they had t-shirts that came with the movie, but they were 3D t-shirts, so you would need to look at the t-shirt with the 3D glasses to see the design, so it didn't just look like blue and red scribbles. Explain the sense that makes to have a shirt where you can't even look at your own design without it looking like scribbles unless the other person has 3D glasses.
Yeah, so the CG in this movie, okay, I actually wrote this down, I think, like a good, like, within 10 minutes of them being on Planet Drool. Spy Kids worked. So here's the thing, the CG in Spy Kids is not great, but it looks pretty good for the budget it had.
Exactly.
Like, I think Spy Kids 2 looks really good for a $38 million budget.
Especially
The difference
for
is
some
that Spy
boys.
Kids 2, the Spy Kids movies, at least the first two, the reason that the CG in those movies holds up a lot better is because they had the benefit of they made sets and the whole movies weren't on green screen. So
Yeah.
they made a shit ton of sets for the movie.
Unlike,
So they were
unlike Spy
constantly
Kids
interacting
3D
with shit.
and
Yeah.
this movie, which were basically you were in just a if people have ever seen the production stills from like the Star Wars prequels, like the Senate being just a giant green room, that's essentially what this all was. Where there was just like green boxes to sit on for boats, and there was no actual like prop or set pieces. It was all just
occasionally there was a prop, but even a part of a prop.
Let me put this into
And
perspective.
the rest
Do you
would be
know what?
CG.
Let me put this into perspective. Do you know what movie came out the exact same year and cost $10 million less that Robert Rodriguez worked on?
what, Sin City?
Sin City came out the
Yep.
exact same year, and
'Cause Sin
Rodriguez
City
worked
was,
on that
38
film.
million.
Yeah, and that was a Robert Rodriguez movie. And Robert Rodriguez, that film looks fucking amazing for
it still does.
as low budget of a film it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful movie, but that's the thing. The problem with this is not just a commentary on Sharkboy and Lavagirl. This is a commentary on the transition period of CGI in film, because it was during that time, because it was 2005. We're in the mid-aughts, where people were trying to utilize CGI in a way that was more than just art, but as a way of convenience. And the Sharkboy and Lavagirl and Spy Kids 3D, even 3D at least had the whole setup that was a video game, but it felt like having all the CGI there with barely any practicality to help integrate it made it feel more like it was trying to flex something it didn't have. Because the thing is, for it being an imaginary land and it being all CG and 3D, it's a very drab-looking movie, color-wise.
It's a very boring... It's weird. It's very colorful, but very boring.
It's like
Like,
muted
the whole
colorful. Like a lot of the colors feel muddy unless you count Lavagirl's neon pink.
Like, it's so...
I like when they
it's
say
so
purple
weird.
flames for hair and it's very clearly hot pink.
Someone's colorblind. Is that Quentin Tarantino?
Yes, that is Quentin Tarantino and Taylor Lautner with 3D glasses at the premiere of the film.
Oh my god.
Oh look, Quentin's wearing Lavagirl glasses. That's nice.
That is nice.
I'm sad Quentin Tarantino didn't
Blue
direct
blue
the scene
goggles
for
for
this
the
movie.
boys, pink ones for the girls. Do you have any more brown boy goggles? Nuh-uh.
Also, can I said it again. I wish Tarantino directed a scene for this movie, like Sin City.
Man.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, like, the thing is just, I feel like this movie would have benefited if, honestly, it would have fit the narrative too if more of this stuff was just like weird thrown together set pieces to fit with the kids' imagination. Because it felt like there was no style. That's the thing about Sin City. Sin City has a style of which the computer generated imagery enhances. This one doesn't feel
And
like
it
it
also-
had a style to it.
I think Sin City also had the benefit of it had something to look at when they were making a lot of the set design. Like, there was reference to look at because we had a very stylized comic, and also we had Frank Miller help direct the film. So we had the person that made the comic help work on the film on top of having visual reference.
I'm just saying, and I wish they could have gone more into how creative Max was and his drawings in his dream journal. If they made the CGI less of, hey, this is real, but look how wacky kind of thing, because it was trying to go for like a weird semi-realism, but not. It was mid 2000s.
I hate quoting Nostalgia Critic here, but a lot of the movie looks very, especially the first when the rocket crashes on the planet.
Yes.
Very, very food fighty.
Food fight.
Looks
Mhm.
very, very
That's what
bad.
my brain immediately screamed seeing them crash land and the splat hit the screen. I'm like,
It looks
I
very food fighty.
I just think it would have benefited if they based the visual style of the things they were going to do as, like, find an artist who's good at emulating, like, a childish style, to make, like, the drawings in Max's journal, and then make the CGI based off that style. Maybe that would have been too ambitious for the time, or maybe you would have just had to integrate, like, actual practical...
Look, they had the right
set
idea,
pieces with it.
they had the right idea, except used it more practically, was freaking Spy Kids, the first one, when you had when you had Floop's Fooglies. Like, the designs were based off of freaking kid drawings. So,
yeah,
right
I feel
idea.
Like that would have made this look a lot better, especially when you look at the very practical outfits of Sharkboy and Lavagirl, which look like they're made out of... They look like they're made out of, like, foam and everything. I feel like this film could have benefited for things looking practically fake because this is a kid's imagination.
The best looking CG effect in the film is the ice people when they go to the land of ice. Because when I was watching that scene, I'm like, is this where most of the CG budget went? Because genuinely, like, the ice people look great for this movie. Like, the way that they did the lighting effects and the sheen, and just they look like they're made out of ice. And it's a really jarring scene because it's like the one decent looking CG effect in the entire film.
It's really sad.
I'm gonna
design is really nice.
I'm gonna dive deep into this real quick. It's gonna be a point of, this was not at all their intention, but the way I interpret it, again, curtains could be blue, but this is how I see it. You know how he tries to actually befriend a girl that is paralleled as the Ice Princess IRL?
The character we've only mentioned like twice in this entire video, because that's how little of a role she plays.
Yeah, but the fact is, early in the movie, obviously, he tries to show that, he's trying to care about her in terms of, she's sitting there freezing her butt off in the seat in the front of the class and she's like, I can't move my seat, I'm going to get in trouble. And obviously now we know because her dad is Mr. E, that. And meanwhile, she's sitting underneath the air conditioning and her allergies late. But the fact is, when she's trying to be nice and trying to make a friend, meanwhile, I feel like the way that her ice realm, because she's, obviously Ice Princess is her parallel, that the way that this was rendered out to be the nicest looking area is because maybe it's almost like a core memory of her being the first inkling of a real IRL friend. So that I don't know, you know what I mean? Where it seems to be the most well-formed area is because it's based off of somebody who is a real friend.
Yeah.
I don't know, this movie's fucking weird.
It's a way to interpret it.
Oh my fucking god.
I was gonna make a commentary the commentary that I have is, just to say one more thing about the visuals, is, to give credit where credit is due. I love the costumes that the actual people wear. Say what you will about the CGI, I love how just goofy and insane looking some of these costumes are. Like the ones for the giants. I think the Ice Princess costume is really fucking pretty. Minus looks like a god, and and
the biggest fucking collar in the world on Minus.
Sharkboy and Lavagirl's costumes are iconic. Lavagirl is an iconic design. Performance, otherwise, she is a beautiful design. I just wish that this amount of practical imagination went into the backgrounds and the visuals, given that this movie is supposed to be this whimsical road trip adventure where stuff like that is important. The set pieces are important when the whole thing is we're in a different world. That's like if the Wizard of Oz was just New Jersey. But yeah, so I know that people probably think we don't like this movie because we have so many criticisms. Nay, I am entertained by this movie.
I was gonna say, here's the thing. It is a bad movie. It is a muddled, confused film. But oh my god, it's entertaining.
Oh yeah.
It is so entertaining. It is not... here's the thing. I'd say this and Spy Kids 3, they are not good movies, but they are so fucking entertaining to watch.
They're fun movies.
Oh, absolutely.
Objective quality is not indicative of fun. Because you can't say that a movie that involves ringing the dingster is not fun. We're talking about Spy Kids.
Somebody ring the dingster!
And you can't say a movie where George Lopez is a giant orb saying, "Who turned on the lights?" is not fun.
I will say, if you're gonna watch the Robert Rodriguez kids movie, just watch the first two Spy Kids, because those are genuinely good movies.
Yeah.
I'd say just watch those. But if you want to watch a fun movie with friends, watch this.
I feel like this movie, especially when you're watching it with friends, a good social movie, it has the same fun of, watching it and thinking back to when you were a kid, playing pretend. This is something the film does achieve. It definitely feels like a kid playing pretend. It does radiate that aura. Whether it's translated well or not as a film, for a 3-act structure, that's another point entirely. But I could totally envision these things being things that kids come up with and imagine. This movie is just an extended Rugrats imagination sequence, but better looking,
Yeah, it's the way I see it, it is an event. I want to say almost you could have a rowdy screening of one of these kinds of movies. Can you imagine a rowdy screening of Sharkboy and Lavagirl or a rowdy screening of Spy Kids 3? Just something.
Oh my god, I would love to see Sharkboy and Lavagirl in a full theater.
And just have it be an interactive points of it that you're it's so absurd that you could make it a thing, if the room can have its spoons and Rocky Horror have its freaking toast, then we could do a
Burnt
rowdy
cookies.
screening for Shark. Cookies. We freaking
Wait, I forget. Am I thinking of Rugrats Go Wild and Spy Kids 3? Did Spy Kids 3 have scratch and sniff shit, or was that just
Spy Kids
Rugrats Go
4
Wild?
had scratch and sniff cards.
Oh, one of the worst sequels ever made. Yeah, one of
Yeah,
the worst sequels I've
yeah.
ever seen in my life.
Oh man, imagine if Sharkboy and Lavagirl had scratch cards and it was like burnt cookie, and then you have like the like mint for the ice world, and fucking I don't
Chocolate
know,
chip cookies for the fucking
or
cookie
like- or
or
Yeah,
like-
milk and
marshmallows.
cookies.
milk and cookies, and man, there's a lot of cookies in this film. Like, burning
lemon for the
embers.
electric.
Oh yeah, lemon for the electricity.
No, I was gonna say scorched hair for the electricity.
Dish soap for the bubble scene. And let's not forget, because this is a 2000s movie, we need to have like a fart scratch point for the brain fart.
For the brain fart.
Yes. See, it's
Oh,
funny
God.
that we talked about this movie and we never once mentioned the quasi sequel, the Netflix movie. So
Yeah, that's a
there was
whole
a
other
Netflix
thing.
movie that came. Yeah, the
Uberman!
Uberman, you're covering Chrissy.
Uberman,
Could you-
Uberman.
No, we did not. No, Uberman, we did
Uberman,
not
you're
say to
drowning
block out
Chrissy.
Chrissy.
Well, okay,
we-
Here's the thing. Uberman brings up a good point for the pseudo sequel that we'll mention briefly, because that one is about superheroes, and Sharkboy and Lavagirl are not the main characters, which is really weird, given that that's how they kind of advertise the whole thing of like, hey, this
And Taylor
these
Lautner's not
characters-
in it either.
Yeah, that these characters are coming back. Excuse me. So like, they basically just had a movie that was nothing but the kids of a bunch of heroes, and the rest of the heroes are just inexplicable. But then there's just Sharkboy and Lavagirl, and it's
Also the president from Spy Kids 2. So there's like this weird connection to the Spy Kids world too, and you find out that he's a
Yes.
fucking alien, and it's weird. It's
yeah,
really
there's a
weird.
Robert Rodriguez shared universe here, which makes me theorize that Sin City is somehow associated in the Robert Rodriguez universe, and Sharkboy and Lavagirl live in the same world as the Man in Yellow, and you cannot tell me otherwise.
God, that's a whole other thing to unpack.
Yeah, we don't have time for that, Lauren.
Yeah.
But we have time to hide behind Uberman, apparently.
I'm not hiding. I'm trying to find a way out. I'm scared.
Uberman,
Don't
I
fucking
think
get
it's
that
about
close to
to,
me.
if you would be so kind as to step aside so that Chrissy may take center stage again.
Oh, okay.
Unblocked.
Okay. It seems like he's moving. Oh wait, no.
Oh no,
Got it.
no,
He's taking
Uberman!
Uberman, no!
I don't know. Back in the dark.
Uberman, come back here with the
Uberman, no! Oh God, now.
Did that
oh,
really just
God.
happen?
Yes. Oh God, Lauren, what's happening?
I don't know.
I don't know
This is
either.
going into Black
I don't-
Lodge territory, and I'm not.
I don't want to
Not
be
sure.
alone.
I like
I don't
Twin
wanna be
Peaks, but
alone
I'm not sure I
again.
wanted to be in here. So
Lauren,
I-
Lauren, no, no,
Michael, what the heck? I'm being-
Lauren, no, no! They dragged her back to hell. When will this nightmare end? Well, at least there was no Dan Aykroyd. Hello? Dan Aykroyd!